If there are people watching this who are trying to quickly grasp what kind of changes you want to see post-Brexit, what kind of changes and continuity the financial services industry wants to see post-Brexit, what message would you give them?
Well, good morning, Anna. I think what we want to see is the UK's success as a global financial centre is underpinned by the quality of its regulation. We want to see that continue post-Brexit, and also to reflect some of the changes that we will see as a consequence of rules moving from Brussels to London. And that's about strengthening the regulatory regime, and thinking about the oversight of the regulators and the way in which their mandate is set.
OK, and so from what you've said there, Mark, nothing that you've said there sounds at all like Singapore-on-Thames. Are you aware of attempts being made to deregulate financial services post-Brexit?
Look, what I hear from firms across the city is a recognition that London's high standards are a competitive advantage. And there's no one I talk to who's interested in some sort of regulatory race to the bottom. What we need are good quality regulations that enable London to continue to meet the needs of domestic customers, but also to be a leading global financial centre. And that's the continuity, I guess, that people are looking for. I think the challenge is to make sure the regulatory regime delivers that, given the transfer of power from Brussels to London.
And what is your sense, Marcus, to the extent to which financial services are going to feature in the next 11 months? Because that does seem to still lack clarity. I mean, we know we're going into some kind of equivalence regime. Are you pushing for regulation of just how much notice period you would get of the withdrawal of equivalence? What do you think is going to happen for financial services in the next 11 months?
Yeah, I think there are two things. One is for the government to decide where they want to seek equivalence with EU rules. But the second thing, and I think where the issue for the city is to ensure that if equivalence is granted, what are the safeguards around that give people certainty that once it's granted it will endure. There's no economic value to equivalence if it's not enduring. And so that we're thinking about the processes you might need to give people confidence they can continue to trade cross-border using equivalence.
We saw at the time of the Brexit vote, Mark, a lot of forecasts of job losses from the UK, from the financial services industry. Do you think they were overdone or just premature? What is the risk to the City of London now, or to financial services broadly in the UK?
Yeah, so Anna, I think what we recognise is this is a long-term process. We know that firms are preparing to move their operations into the EU27. They've done that preparation already to a large extent over the course of the last 3.5 years. I think the challenge is what sort of relationship does the EU want with the UK? How open does it want to be to the capital flows that come from London? And how do we make that work? The more open the relationship, the easier it is, I think, to maintain the right level of economic activity both in the UK and the EU27. The challenge would be if the EU want a narrower, shallower relationship, then there will be changes. But I think for the city, there are huge opportunities outside the EU as well. Green finance, the renminbi trading that happens, Islamic finance, the growth markets of Asia. So I think that there will be a period of transition, there will be some uncertainty. But I'm confident the city does have a very positive future, and that's good for jobs in London and across the UK.